Ta-da! So, my other shocks are completely blown out nightmare, and I do want it to drive nice. Imagine that. So I got new shocks because I wanted to. Anyway, I'm really liking the mix of old and rotty versus brand new stuff going on in here. So I did make a transmission crossmember with their kit, and it's going to hold it in there for now. I realized what it's used for after I did it, and so I just welded the tabs. They're holding. I got to box it to make it fully strong. Terrible. Not that great, but you know what? It's holding up the tranny to do the rest of the work. That can get taken care of anytime. Having all of that weight hanging off of these bolts and the motor mount area K-member, I don't want to bend my K-member. And another common thing, you can't reattach this. Don't freak out. You actually have to take a bolt out up here and pull this out to fit. It moves everything a little bit. You need to reach the steering guy. So the next piece, what, did I get this yet? I think I might have shown. The caster camber plates from AJE and the coil over conversion from AJE and blah blah blah. So the other side I didn't do anything with. I just pulled the hub, the knuckle, the spindle, the whatever, and I'm gonna do the whole shock upgrade, coil over and whatnot on this side, and I can show more of the call the cops. So I'm flying along here, and I got a video of this. I'm doing really well. So front end is all on. It's under its own weight. It can sit on its own weight. You understand. All that stuff's in. All that stuff's good. I did the trans cross member I showed, I believe. I did subframes, which are bright red. They were the cheapest ones. So I'll paint them when I paint everything else. I don't care. I'm measuring for a drive shaft. I measured and I guesstimated, and I went to the truck scrapyard Collis, and they had one fairly close. I wanted an aluminum one. They had one out of like a, what the hell is it? A thing. Out of a thing. So I measured, and I was only slightly off. I needed to get a shorter one, but they don't have the shorter aluminum guy. But I did find pretty much exactly perfect length steel one. And then I came to a conclusion that it would be cool if I took this. It's a 94 F-150 drive shaft. It's written on it. I have to check, but isn't that hilarious? It's all the same U-joints, so I'm reusing all the stuff. I'm going to cross it all over. Obviously, this is a budget option. I want to do many dyno hits, obviously, and then I want to go order a completely new aluminum drive shaft that'll be in it forever and see if there's a horsepower difference. I always wondered, because something with this little bit of the small rear end, the small transmission and everything, a heavier drivetrain component, if it was detrimental, would show up pretty easily right here. TBM. So I showed a little bit of the drive shaft. I ordered U-joints, but I did ugly things to this so it would fit. And the subframes that I got were red because they're the cheapest, I believe I mentioned. I also, it was a kit. It was subframe, seat brackets, upper and lower control arms with new bolts and poly bushings. So all that's happening now. Just I'm bolting these one at a time and putting them in. Hopefully I don't need to support the diff. If I do funny things like this and lower the car down and pick it up enough for that. I pulled the tank and we got some ideas for that. I bought a 17-gallon Circle Track cell because, in my opinion, there's a lot of wasted space. And I hate also when people cut the whole trunk up and set a fuel cell in the middle and you can't. Now the trunk's useless. These have an astronomically large trunk. So we're gonna build a fancy fuel cell with a custom well in it and attach it to the stock filler neck and all the other cool stuff. The fuel cell's in here. You know, we'll go over that stuff when we get to it, but yep, exciting. Drive shaft might be done tomorrow. I have all the pieces there. If all the U-joints work out and it's not too far in or out, we're good on that stuff. Moving along, I'd like to maybe just do the gears while it's up here. Do the gears and probably just weld it. Weld the diff right away, because ain't nobody got time for one leg in once we're done with all of that. Oh, and then I think I'll have all the stuff today and tomorrow to do my fuel lines, and then I'd like to get fuel lines and stuff done and then move it over here. It's easier to work on interior and wiring and stuff when you're not working around the lift, and there's not a lot of room on that side at all, and it's hard to open and close the doors and lay in the car, etc. So I'm prepping for that stuff. I got my HCR harness, the most beautiful stuff you've ever seen. Drop in HCR wiring harness. Heck yeah! HCR 58X. Look at that stuff. It's beautiful. So yeah, all that's coming up next. Probably cut out the stock fuel lines. I'm leaving the brakes alone because I had an epiphany. Why touch the brakes? You're nowhere near ready to do brakes. And if you're ready with everything else and the stock brakes stop the car, you can drive and move the car then, buddy old pal. So yeah, don't do that. And then, is this how this works still? Wow, look, I got like a pump going on, something. Here, that's better. No, I'm sorry, who cares? That's the plan, and that's what's happening. Little stuff all the time. Even if it's sweeping and throwing stuff out, little stuff all the time. This happens. This is what happens.